nicht kein Rosenkäse, nicht kein Mandeln. Der Tate ist nicht gefroren handeln. Lulineke mein Sinn, Lulineke mein Sinn. Hat verlost in Zina weg, wie die Welt hat nur...
My name is Miriam Hendler, married. My maiden name was Miriam Rubenstein. I'm born in Poland in 1925 in May 1st.
Where in Poland?
In Auschwitz.
And who were your parents?
My parents' name?
Yeah.
My father's name was Jack Rubenstein. My mother was Rose Rubenstein.
So he was Janko Rubenstein?
They were very young. They were 34 years old. 34. Daddy was 34, Mama was 34, just a half a year different.
But in Poland, they didn't call him Jack, right? They call him Janko.
Janko.
And Grandma, what did they call him?
Rachel.
Rachel.
Rachel, right. And my mother had a little child, and a little sister was born in 1938. Was an adorable little sister, and the German took her away.
Tell us a little bit what it was like when things were normal. You were born in 1925.
Yes, I had a wonderful life. My mother and father were in business. We had a beautiful home.
What kind of business?
A butcher business.
Butchership.
Yeah, wholesale. And my father was in all kind of businesses. They made a very beautiful living, and we had a gorgeous home. Fixed up in 1938 when the German came in and they saw that house. They said, "Oh, they said that's not for soldiers, that's for Offizieren."
So they brought in officers to the home?
For the officers, yes. And we had a little doggy, and they took it away. And we were very sick, all three sisters. We were very sick for a month. We didn't eat to miss that doggy. The minute they came in. And home, my father gave us everything. And the whole family was very close.
How many sisters were there altogether?
4 sisters. With the little girl, she was 2 years old. Gorgeous little girl. And this was in 1921, when I finished school, 7 classes. I was 14 years old, and the German came in September.
This is the first time you saw Germans?
Yes.
September 1939?
Yes.
You came from school?
Yeah.
And
finished school, we had finished school. I born in July, we finished school. We couldn't go to school anymore. They wouldn't let us because Jewish people, they're not allowed to go to schools. So...
Before the Germans came, did you hear that they were coming? Was there...
Oh, we heard that this guy went to Czechoslovakia, he went to Austria, but nobody expected that he's going to go further. But he did. He started with the planes, bombs, and he walked in. And I heard as a girl that everything was espionage, and the Polish officers got killed, and these Polish soldiers, everything was upside down. That I remember my grandpa told us. And later on they came in, and it was in September, and it was before the holidays. It was 1939, and they burned right away the temple.
They came into town. First thing they burned down was the cemetery.
Right, the temple. It was a fire at night. We could see from the back, because the back of us, the temple was burnt. And they start killing Jews, take them to work. Me as a girl, I had to run away, but every day they came to catch people to work to the toilets and clean windows. If you didn't want, they shoot. And that's how it goes on every single day. They took my father and they wanted money from him, and he was in jail. A few people, but they knew that the rich people. And so we had to pay him out. When he came home, he was so beaten up on the back, like, you know, like black stripes. Okay, we were happy that he's home, that they didn't shoot him. But for 40 days, they were looking for my father. Every night, the gendarmerie came up and looking for him, and we had children that we don't know. So they were not with their maid, and they said to their maid, "I'm going to shoot you, but you won't tell where your boss is." She said, "I don't know." He was sleeping for my grandma. And that's how it goes on from 1939 to 1942. Killing, working, and we had to wear, the minute they came in, we had to wear the Jewish star, everyone, because the German didn't know who's a Jew or who's a Polish. But Polish people did say this is Jude. So we understand the stars. And
so in those years, in 1939 until 1942, you were still living in your own home.
yes.
But sometimes they would come.
It became a little ghetto, but you know, our house was the last one from the ghetto. We're still living. My grandma had to move to us because her house was taken away. That street you weren't allowed to go. It's like a little ghetto was in one's corner there. And
so they would come, take you to work for a day, and then they'd let you go home at night.
Yes,
They'd
they
come
did.
around,
They
beat
did.
people up
Yes,
sometimes.
yes. When German came in, so the private soldiers opened up the door and they said, "No, that's for the officer." You know, looked elegant, clean. So they walked out. So later the officer came in, you know, from the Wehrmacht. This was no SS. They came in, so we 3 children, Mama was always worried for soldiers not to rape, you know, so we went to Grandma to sleep, and Mama remained with Daddy and the maid. So when the officer came back, and they were sitting and talking, so one officer said to Daddy or to Mother that he had a friend in the first war here, a Polish friend that had schnapps to sell, but what do you mean, what do you call that? A restaurant. And he had a Jewish guy, but he always bought him Bonne Cafe, you know. And he was a very nice fellow. Mama was sitting, and she knew that's Grandpa. And she's afraid to tell him. He said that when I would know that he's alive, I would like to see him in the corner, but I cannot talk to him. It's different kind of rules. Because he's a Jew. But the Polish guy I would like to see. But mother was afraid because he shouldn't tell grandpa. So father said they live across the street. They have the restaurant across. So next day he went to see them. The mother still was there alive, but not the father. I remember when the father died. They were very nice with Jews. They were living with Jews. They, very close. They got the whole family. And the son-in-law was a policeman. So next day they went to see. They asked them where the Jew is, but they didn't tell him. My father told him not to tell. You never know. But he asked about him that he would like to see him, but he cannot talk to him because it's different kind of rules. But he was on Wehrmacht, he wasn't SS. But you see how they believe in that Hitler. And when they left a lot of food. So they hide under the oven. Because Mama prepared food for them too, And next day they went to see and they went for them.
So that first group of officers,
yes.
They ate, they talked, they didn't hurt anybody?
No, because SS hurt. Wehrmacht is not hurt. Wehrmacht know to fight and to get over it. No Wehrmacht hurt somebody. The Wehrmacht, it wasn't so. The SS brought up from kids. He talked to them every single day. Don't you see sometimes the kids go, "Hi Hitler"? They were young kids. Later on they became Sturmführers.
Did any of the Jews have guns to fight back?
Some Jews were in the bushes, whatever you call it, the
resistance.
In the forest. But you know what? And they had guns. And they called themselves, they had a name. But the Polish gave them out.
Told them where they were?
Very little Polacks covered up Jews. Maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe 10. But the Polacks showed the German where the Jews are, and they killed them. Our cousin was there, and a lot of our friends were there. Mama's brother, there were 4 brothers, was there, by Polak, but he did business with him. And he walked into him and said to him the name, he was eating by him and everything. He didn't say, "I don't know you." He called that the memories, and that should have.
He was in his house, he said, "I don't know you," and he called the Germans.
He said, "You don't recognize me? You don't know who I am? I did business with you. You build to be like my brother. I don't know you." Shoot him and his brother. Beautiful looking guy, tall, blonde, and Mama's brother.
You once told me that when they first came to Auschwitz, they took your father out and they cut his beard.
Where?
Did they cut your father's beard when they
Grandpa's.
first came?
My father didn't have the beard.
What happened?
He was a young fellow, but Grandpa was such a short beard, He was already in the late 40s, maybe. And he believed in the beard, 50. So they cut my grandpa's beard. I never saw a man crying like that my grandpa cried. He cried so. I don't know what he was thinking. He was thinking that such bandits could go over there and cut his beard, but he's always combed it beautifully and believed in it. He cried like a baby. Was hysterical. And my father was wearing a Jewish hat. And wear it and
Did you think about leaving Poland, or you couldn't?
Yes.
Because if you had money.
Yes. We wanted to sell the house. This was in 1938 or 1937. We moved into the house, and Daddy came home and said to me, "Tell Mother, let's sell everything and let's go to the United States." They held me for a very smart child, so he came over to me, and I went over to Ma. He said, "Ma, Daddy says that we should sell everything and go to the United States." She's crazy. I have a business here. I have all my whole family here. Well, I'm gonna run. Daddy wanted to go. She didn't want. If my father and mother, she loved her father and mother. Then I'm gonna run. It's crazy. So by himself he wouldn't go. A lot of people went by themselves, but Daddy wouldn't go. A lot of men went. A lot of men took down the wives. A lot of men, they couldn't anymore. Hitler came. Would you believe? But one man did to that country, to those countries, and to the Jews. I'm a geyser. Unbelievable. I can't believe it. Me, myself, some people ask me, how did you survive? I said, I don't know. I cannot ask him. Just pure luck, that's all. When when you survive, you want to survive, so you fight, you take a gun, you shoot. You didn't take a gun, you didn't shoot, and you survived, and you don't know how. You really don't know how. And 1942, in September, before the holidays, they took us on the plaza, and the SS went over like in a line. You got this, the right, one on the left, one to the right, one to the left, one to the right, one to... We didn't know. So...
How did they get everybody to the plaza?
They got everybody. They went to every house. We had to get out. And the little girl was laying on that bed. I will never forget how I knew that I wouldn't see her anymore. I knew. So I kissed her and kissed her. Grandma took her. So Mother was staying with the baby, and the policeman, the chief and the policeman, a Polish, he knew my mother very well. So he said, "Oh, give the baby to your mother and go to the right." We were already to the right because Daddy said to one guy, a German guy, that my children are there, so he came over and took us by hand and took us to the right, all three of us. Mama wasn't there yet. So Grandma took the baby, the mother ran into, she was a young woman, 34 years old. 1942, how old was she? When she was 105 born.
So 1945 should be, so she's 38, 37, like that?
No.
She was born in 1905.
Yes.
So to
in
1945 she'd be 40. And now we're talking 42 is minus 3 years, should be 37.
37 years old. And she went with us to that concentration camp.
And you were how old? 14?
I was 14, now I was
16,
16 or 17 years old. No, 16.
So you were 16 and Ida was 14?
15.
15.
Yeah, yeah.
And Faye?
And Faye was a year and a half from me. 2 years. Faye was 14.
So like 16, 15, 14?
Yes.
Like that.
All 3 sisters. And we went in the town, was 2 concentration camps, ghetto camps, but it was a horror. So people went to work.
So in Starachowice they made 2 camps?
Yes. Starachowice had 2 camps.
And right away you were separated from your grandmother and the baby?
Everybody. So, matter of fact, I was working in a factory. And the factory was across this station, and we saw all the people in that train. You didn't recognize who was who, but they looked out and we saw them and they saw us. That's all. It was the last time we saw them. And we were working hard. I was working in a factory that I made the frames for them from ammunition, like guns, for
bombs?
You know, for the big one, what the one?
A cannon?
Yeah, this was baked. We made it from clay, and this was baked in an oven. We worked very hard because it was very heavy. You know, the clay was very heavy. You had to make it and to stay by that oven and to take it out. It was a horror.
Did it have a name, that factory or that cannon?
Yeah, Rogalia. It's Polish. I worked there, my sisters, my cousins. And we came home to get a soup from Bode.
At night you still went to your own home or to a different home?
No, we were in concentration already.
It was a camp already?
Yeah, it was a camp already. It was a camp. And the other camp was 2 miles away. They went to different kind of ammunition factories, steel, and armatnia, we call it armatnia. From the big bullets, I don't know what to call it.
Big cannon?
Yes, from the cannon. And they worked there, and we worked on this side.
Is that where Grandma went? Your grandmother? Or?
My grandmother went to, my grandmother, the whole town, what was to the left, went to Auschwitz, to Bergen. You never saw them again. We didn't know where they're going, but we never saw them again. We knew later on we find them. So, okay, we were working in that camp for 2 years, going to the work, to the ammunition factory, and that's how it goes on. 1944. The people got very sick in the camp. They have typhus. I had a typhus. Grandma didn't get a typhus because she had a typhus. Typhus she came only once. She got when she was a young girl from the First World War. And we all 3 were very sick of typhus. The whole camp was sick. At night the storm fear came.
Which camp now?
Starachowice.
Okay.
The 2 years, like from 42 to 44. And he came, hanged up a machine gun, and he couldn't stay, he shot. It went like you cut grass, back and forth with that. People fell. I had that time, I had 105 temperature. Because you're on a very high temperature in typhus. So I had two girls. Mama came in and she put on lipstick on me and she made me red cheeks and she put on a coat, she was never holding me. So he passed by, he didn't see me. But not I would be dead too. Okay, later he went away, was happy, he killed a few Jews, and we went into the barracks. And that's how it goes on. Every minute we heard the Sturmführer is coming. We heard one Sturmführer, but it was a psychiatrist. When he looked at your eyes and he didn't like you, he took out the gun and shot you. They kill people like I don't know, like chicken. He didn't like you, he shot you. I was cleaning that little barrack where we were sleeping, and he came in. And I didn't know that he's there, but I was laying on the floor, washing the floor. So he asked me, "Was machst du?" I told him that I'm cleaning. So he left me. My mother thought he was going to shoot me. She was crying there already outside. He didn't, because he didn't like people that didn't work. Arbeit was bei dem Arbeit macht das Leben süß. Understand what I said?
Work will make you free.
Is that when you work, makes you life sweet. I had such a nice, beautiful family. Devoted family. I had an uncle, I was in love with him. He was such a good guy. German killed him. I saw him shoot. I was so sick. I was sick.
In Auschwitz?
In Auschwitz.
He shot for no reason?
He wanted to run out because they knew they rushed me. He wanted to run out. And they got him, a few people. A cousin of ours, they showed him, and we had to stay and watch him. You imagine this. To stay and watch him, and they shooting your uncle for nothing, because he's a Jew. And you know what? Before he left, he came to me. He said, "I want to take you with me. Let's get out from here." I was 17 years old, because he was crazy about me. He was my mother's youngest brother. So, and he was a soldier, so he knew everything, you know.
He was a Polish soldier?
A Polish soldier, yes. So I said, "I cannot go. I don't want to leave Mom and Daddy. Please don't go to stay here." He said, "I had to go. They're going to kill us," because we were sure that they're going to shoot us out there. But they took us on a train and took us to Auschwitz.
So this is when they told everyone to go to the plaza.
Yeah.
Instead of going to the plaza, he wanted to run away.
Not the plaza. Not the plaza. He in the Auschwitz camp. He was there, and he wanted to run away from the camp. And he killed all those that were shooting. They were strong. What do you call those?
Hand grenades? It explodes?
Yes.
A grenade?
Grenade. Killed a lot of people. And killed him too, the grenade. Not the grenade didn't kill him because he was alive. But he was injured. So he shot him, he shot that. So he suffered plenty. He was injured from the grenade. Yeah, go tell those stories. But we went through, my God. I could remember the stories. Every minute I remember myself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And in camp, I went down with a soldier because we needed a needle for mother's brother's son. He was very sick. He was laying in ambulance there, they called. So I went down with that soldier. Not a soldier, was Ukrainian. Far away, I saw, what time I was, maybe 15 years old, because I didn't look Jewish, I went with, so we got the medication, but from far away, I saw the sister, he was they call him the nasal, he was the voice. He was a bandit. So when I saw him, I thought, that's it. But I don't know what had happened that he disappeared. But when I came in, back, I couldn't feel my heart. I got a nervous heart. Doctor gave me some medication. I started yelling to Mama, my heart, my heart, my heart. I couldn't breathe. I got scared.
That was in Starkovitz?
Yeah, in Starkovitz.
So you already knew which SS were bad, which weren't so bad?
Oh sure, this was he was the voice. He was the voice. He could kill you in a minute. He could kill you in a minute. He took money because they couldn't find Daddy. They were looking for Daddy. So he took Mother to jail with Faye. And Faye was a young kid. And I run every day to the Jewish people, what they, the Gemeinde, whatever they call.
The Jewish Council?
Yeah. Not council, no council. This was Jewish, but they were working with the German, they could buy them off, And every day they don't want to tell me what they're doing to Mama. So that Haleya, he stood with Mama and said, you're going to tell me where your husband is. So Mother said, I don't live with my husband. My husband wanted to divorce me. He is somebody else, but I don't know who. So the policeman, he was over the police, what you call them, the commander. He went through like dear mother. He said, it's true that you have a little baby home? So the German said, a baby, a little baby. Okay, go home. Because of the little baby, So he passed by, he just threw in, Mrs. Rubenstein, it's true that you have a little baby home? She said, yes. Later on, they brought in a big dog to Faye, and they said to Faye, he's going to bite you when you wouldn't tell me where your father is. She said, I don't know where my father is. He said, he doesn't live with my mother for months. He ran away from us. We don't know where he is. So he let her go. This was a ghetto. So we stayed in the ghetto, but the point of the ghetto was you couldn't put a foot on that Strasse. So every day waiting, her mom is coming with Faye. One Thursday, we were standing, me, my sister, and our maid. And we were standing watching the letter to home or didn't let her home. And we saw them from far away. I remember that it was so far away, it wasn't so far, that I didn't recognize Mother, not Faye, I didn't recognize. But my maid said, there's the mama with Faye. Let her go because he told him that there's a little boy baby home, because he knew Mama very well. There was a Polish surgeon, and he said, he threw in a few words, don't you have a little, in German, a little baby home?
Did you speak German?
Yeah, a little bit.
You learned?
You learned from the German, not in school.
Did they find your father or no?
No.
They never found him.
They never find my father, but nothing would kill him.
And why did they want him? Because he was rich?
Because they looked for a few people, rich people. So all of them that went away, a few people. They slept in mother's. My father slept by my grandmother. Every night, we woke up and said, oh my God, they're here again. Every night they came in, 12 o'clock at night, looking for my father. And with a dog. He always went with a dog, that bandit.
The same bandit came every night?
Yes, every night.
Open the door.
With somebody else, one more. He didn't open, they knocked the door open. They knocked the door. They didn't find because the time was already before the Aussiedlung. Before we went to Plaza and took everyone to go to camps and wherever. One to camps, one to the chamber. I had so many cousins, such little beautiful cousins. Because we were always together, you know. Like my grandfather built 2 homes, an upstairs and a downstairs, and upstairs was a brother lives with the kids, another brother kids. We were living till we moved into our new home. And we played together. Unbelievable, unbelievable. What how they did to people, my God. The town, I was in the town. Now a town, Sarvice, they put up, they hanged a few Polacks.
Not Jews, Polacks.
Polacks. But the Jews had to do. Nobody knew till now who did it. They didn't do it. They take Jews to do it. Young boys. So when it was on Saturday, and I was walking, and I saw in the corner that those, what do you call? What do you call when you hang people?
Gallows.
Huh?
Gallows?
Gallows, whatever. I went back. I was hysterical. Came home, hysterical. Sunday morning, everybody had to go out. The whole town. Polish or Jews, everybody should be in the plaza, you know? I didn't go. I didn't go. I went on upstairs on that, what do you call?
Attic.
Avoided me, I avoided.
Attic?
Huh?
The attic?
The attic. I covered myself. And my mother, my father, they couldn't get over it. I said, I don't care. They're going to shoot me, don't shoot me. I cannot see where they hang people. Sorry. I was the only one in town that I didn't go out. But my father, they're out, they're crying. They didn't want me. I said, no. I'm going, they should shoot me. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to see it. I saw it yesterday. I couldn't sleep a whole night. And I didn't go. And they came to our thing, and they were looking for people, but they didn't look in the attic. They looked only in there. Later on, I was laying an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I heard already talking people, so I looked down, and I saw the people going back. So I went down. But nobody in the city knew that I was on the attic. Mama didn't tell nobody. Daddy too, my sisters too. I didn't want to go. I just couldn't take it. I just couldn't take it. And I did not go. So, see? So, like the saying in Jewish, Bashet gewesen Leben. To live. Luck, pure luck. Pure luck. we always were running, fighting with yourself. Somebody came to pick up kids, that means girls to clean. We run.
You want it to be picked or you don't want to be picked?
I didn't want it. Because you didn't know you're going to come home. Because I wouldn't do good, they would shoot me. Who knows? I would do good. I did once. I washed the toilets for them. Son of a bitches. 15 years old.
Did someone ever, they go crazy and they try to attack an SS and they get shot?
Never. If you didn't have it, what? And the minute you would touch him, he would shoot you. You run away, you hide yourself. You hide yourself. When you'll see, I was still in Poland. I mean, in Poland, my town. And when they came every day to catch people to work, I ran into a Polish woman. All three of us. Mama gave us something and she covered us up. When it got quiet, we went out. Next door, the Polish woman. And that Polish woman was in the United States and they came back. Two sisters. They were living in the house. They came back to Poland. And I tell you, that's it. You were afraid of the shadow because you didn't know that the Polak is not after you too.
Do you know how many Jews were in your town before the war?
Yes. 600 families.
600 families. And after the war, not a single one went back?
Huh?
Did any Jews go back after the war or no?
And they go back, they kill them. But nobody's there. They're afraid. They went there back. A lot of people went back. They wanted to see maybe some, they didn't believe it was such a horror that they burned people. You know, they thought maybe somewhere. So they came back, they killed them. Nobody's in Poland. Maybe Warsaw, I don't think so. In Germany died, but not in Poland. A few people remain in Munich, but not in Poland, I don't think so. So that's how it went. Later came July, when the Russian came 1944. While the Russian came more and more, they took us on, everyone on the train. You saw the train. And we traveled 3 days, because some we didn't know, but now we realized that some stations we couldn't go because the Russians were there. So they turned around. For 3 days we went to Auschwitz. We came to Auschwitz.
This was what month, 1944?
In July.
July. Very hot.
Very hot. And I remember hearing my father yelling, water, water, water. You know, he was a heavy man and he needed the water. And they all got choked because of the water. 19 or 20 people were dead from that. My father was between them.
When you were in the when you were in the camp in Starkowice before they took you to Auschwitz, did you see your father? Or
we were together.
You were with your father and your mother?
Yes, we were together. My father and mother were together. Cost my father money to be there.
He bribed some money?
Yes, lost money to be there. He paid for us to.
There was a barracks with other people or just with your family in that camp?
In my family, my father and mother had a separate, not a room. He paid for it. And we were in the barracks, the kids.
And how did he pay for it? There were some corrupt Nazis that you could pay to get.
We paid through the organization. Was they called a union, right?
The Jewish bosses.
Yes.
So you pay off somebody and they give you a special treatment.
Yeah, paid off, and they paid off the German too. Because German, they liked the Bonner Cafe. When they had the cafe, they didn't need nothing. But that always was,
When they had the coffee.
Yeah, Bonner Cafe. They bought for the Bonner Cafe, they bought gold pieces, I remember they say. Whatever they could, they do, but they didn't could, okay. So they were killing Jews with the money. We came to Auschwitz. A Polish woman. She was a president of a department store for the workers, because a lot of workers were working Polish in this town, in the ammunition factories. So she was president in that. So they took her as politics. So she heard.
Was she Jewish or Polish?
No, Polish.
But she was political, so they took her anyway.
Yes, political, right. So she heard that our transport comes from Starachowice to Auschwitz. So she recognized right away my mother, and she said to my mother, you here alone? She said, no, I have my 3 daughters here. She said to her, don't tell your daughters not to call you mother. Just let them call you by name. And that's what we did. But not, then they heard a mother that took away, to the group that goes to do the Auschwitz.
Auschwitz had 2 parts, right? Auschwitz 1 and Auschwitz 2. One was more a work camp and one was where the death camp was, right?
Our camp now, they're both the same, but in real Auschwitz was the what do you call this? The ovens where they burned the people.
The gas chambers. And
the gas chambers, right. Exactly, the gas chambers. So because from all over Poland, they brought it to Auschwitz. And they make selections. They saw people that they could look good, they stayed to work. People didn't look good, goes to the gas chamber. Okay, that's we remained. And I had an aunt with two cousins. And she remained too, with the 2 sisters, the 2 daughters, with us together.
So in the summer of 1944, you got to Auschwitz. Your father didn't survive the train trip?
No, because he got that done on the train. He didn't have no body at the point. My cousin threw himself out naked, so they killed him.
They shot him.
You know what I mean? He was so hot that they put in so many people in that wagon that everybody should get killed. So who couldn't take it, he couldn't take it.
In your wagon also, was it very crowded?
Crowded. But a woman had water with herself, just little food, you know what I mean? Every single day. My mother didn't go. She had some dollars, she gave the what you call, the Stubmacher, that So she was in that barrack. She was the, she would control the barrack. So Mother gave her a few dollars.
So Bubba still had jewelry or money?
She did.
Where did she keep it?
She hid it. She hid it in herself. We didn't, but yes, I had my mother put in I had a black coat. It was a big buttons, tremendous. On the one button, my mother sold to me, wherever I'm going to be, a $20.
Not dollars, Polish money.
No, American.
American dollars?
Yeah. And she had the American dollars too, you could buy on the black market. So I saw that the German called whoever has money, whoever has gold, to put in one didn't put in, they fined by him, they shot him right away. So I took that button, ripped off, and throw it away where they collect. And Mama was smart. She always bread they didn't take away.
Bread?
Bread. So she had like a half a bread with her. So she scooped up the bread and she put it that time the dollars and the rings she had, whatever she had there. When we came to Auschwitz, so for $5, my mother bought a bread and marmalade and sugar. So whatever she had till
when you got to Auschwitz, you were able to buy food from people?
What?
When you got to Auschwitz, she was able to buy food?
Yes. From people that worked in the kitchen.
They would steal it and then sell it?
Yes.
When did you get your number? When you went to Auschwitz or to Bergen?
Auschwitz.
From Auschwitz.
Yes. Auschwitz that took us into from the wagons, from what do you call from the
train.
What do you call from the train? They took us right over there, cut us the hair, we looked like crazy right away. We came dressed up, and they gave us those. One that had a short dress, one had a long dress. We looked like crazy.
So
when we
walked, took away your clothes?
Everything. We had to put away everything. When we walked and we saw people standing with those stripes, so we thought it's crazy people. We said, oh my God, look at them, I bet you they're crazy. In 5 minutes we were crazy like that too. Cut our hair, we took everything away. They gave us shoes from wood, like in Holland they're wearing.
Clogs.
Oh, we had so much trouble with that shoes, the rubbed up feet. We couldn't walk.
And then they gave you the number?
We always, they give you the number right away. Before they went in to cut the hair and they gave us the showers. They gave us showers. And they dressed us. That's what we went in right away. They gave us the number.
How did they do the number? With a needle?
With a needle, yes. The needle. Because we were never called by name. You always called by numbers.
Okay.
When we came out to Auschwitz, we saw those barracks. You know, like soldiers have barracks. So we went up.
It was summertime when you came.
It was July. It was so hot. From the heat, I lost my father. We didn't have water. So we went up. 9 people on that wood laying every night. And when we had to turn, all 9 had to turn to left. Sometimes the first one was turning to the right. We had to turn to the right because we didn't have place to spread out. We had to lay like herrings in the bottom.
How many levels was it? 2 levels?
2 levels. 2 levels. 9 people, imagine. And some people we heard yelling at night, crying at night, because they couldn't get over it. They couldn't move. It was too much for them, those barracks, to lay 9 people. Mama.
Did the Jews argue among themselves and tell each other to be quiet, or everybody was nice or not nice?
We were nice to each other, yeah. We were not nice. First of all, we were nice because most of the time, we had from our town a lot of people. And the rest, the Hungarian, we were nice to each other. We didn't fight. Who had for what you gonna fight? Tell me. I don't know. I don't believe it. What happened that time? How they could be so miserable, without a heart to people to kill, to take out a gun and shoot. Sometimes I didn't want to live. I really didn't want to live. But when you step down on dead people always. So we came to Auschwitz, and we were in Auschwitz.
Was there, when you got to Auschwitz, was there another selection process to the left?
Of course. So we started working by stones. With wagons, like a train they pulled those as young kids. I had always abscesses here.
Calluses?
Yeah. From pushing, When I had an abscess that was inflamed. So, okay.
What did you have to do to the stones?
Well, big stones to put in that wagon.
Did they do anything with the stones, or they just make work?
Just made work. I don't know, they didn't do nothing. Just took us to Mate. And they stood with dogs, big dogs. That says, and who didn't stop for a second, or they killed him, or the dog fell on him. Go get her, that's all.
When you got to Auschwitz, did you already know about Auschwitz? Had you heard of it? Did you know what it was?
No, we didn't. We really didn't. Everything was taken so, take you in a sack, and we didn't know what's going on. He did it so, I cannot believe. And not only this, he wasn't always with them. They themselves were so right. Ayuda, that's the voice by them. So we were in Auschwitz every day. We walked to work.
When you were at Auschwitz, when they would kill people, they would put them in the ovens, right?
Yes.
Could you smell that?
We didn't smell, but we saw the
smoke.
The smoke.
But did you know what it was, or nobody knew?
That time we knew already. Of course we knew. Of course. We knew already. Once they grabbed us for blood in Auschwitz. Me and my cousin.
They were taking blood from you?
Sure.
To do what?
They needed blood.
For the soldiers?
For the soldiers. So we made a line. I jumped out through the window, but the guy catched me. Mama didn't. They didn't catch Mama. They didn't catch Ida, not Faye. Me, they catched. And my cousin.
You all jumped out and they caught you?
Yes.
Because you didn't want to go to get
I didn't want to call them, but you're German. You can go, put away. You can go away. They don't look for you. They have to have you right away.
Because it's too much trouble to go.
Yes. So I was the last one. So they catch me thrown to the window. And then my cousin too, my first cousin, for she lives in Toronto. And look at this. All right. But I have to tell myself, I got so smart that I said to the cousin, let's stay the last one. Maybe they wouldn't need, maybe they need just so much and so much. She said, you know what, it's a good idea. So we pushed us back to the last one. Then your mind had to work there. So 5 people remained, 3 before us. She came over the Sturmführer and asked all of us, came over to me and said, you want to give blood? I said, when you need, you can take. Got lows, I should go away. In my closet.
They didn't need anything.
I didn't get Those kids were so sick after that blood gave them. They didn't have blood to give, believe me.
They were so weak.
True. I wasn't so wicked. My cousin told me, well, I still look good.
Just because you were strong going in?
Yes, we still had food and everything, So, it's funny, he said, first they gave him blood. I said, when she down, let me see. And I stuck out the hand. He said, Rose, I should go. He told to all 5 of us. He didn't need it no more. He had this, I want to tell you something. Let me see what I want to say. When I came to Auschwitz, after to avoid such a walk, so we went into the sauna.
When you say the sauna, what do you mean?
A sauna means when you wash yourself.
It was a big shower.
Yeah,
big shower.
Showers.
But for Jews or for the SS, who used the sauna?
The sauna was for us. They called the sauna. A sauna, a spa.
So you would go in.
This was the spa. That's to wash yourself by the sinks. But they called the sauna. So I went in once after they came home, and I went to wash myself, the hand and to wash around, to go to sleep. A girl came over, a Czech from Czechoslovakia. And she said, when did you came here? I said, we came here the last month. She said, what do you mean you came here? I said, because I have a mother and 2 sisters. You have a mother? I said, yes. Tomorrow you wait here and I bring you some food. She was working in the kitchen, that's his kitchen. She brings me a whole thing with food with a handle. And I came into the barracks. I didn't tell nobody because they would fell on me. They would took it away from me because they were hungry people. And I went and they preached. My aunt was there. We were sleeping together, and the 2 cousins. And we sat down and were eating. Maybe she brought me 3 or 4 times. Later we went away. Food like that, because I have a mother and sisters. Wait, you know what she got me? A puchene, what do you call it? A down blanket to cover myself, to cover mother.
But the Germans didn't see that? And take it away?
No, they don't know.
They don't come into the bar?
No, they were so smart, they couldn't took out, you know what I mean? They knew that they would be catched, they would be killed. But maybe she ate there, and this was, maybe she had to take home, so she gave it to me.
So some things they turn the block, they pretend
Yes,
they don't see.
yeah, the good workers, they turn around too. You know what I mean? They like good workers. German like good workers. I didn't like that you stay and do nothing. And she got it a few times because very short before we left the Bergen Belsen. And I said that when I would know who this is, I would, till now, will thank her. But I didn't remember her name and I didn't remember her face. Was a young girl, Czechoslovakian. You have a mother? Every time I had to go this time and she comes home to the sun and she gave me that pot with food. It was delicious. Potatoes, a lot of string beans, good food. We had water there. The minute I have a mother, and not only this, when we were working in the morning, was a rain, was an empty house, a Jewish house up in Auschwitz, past Auschwitz. And so we went into that house. While we went into the house, a few soldiers came in. But this wasn't SS, for private soldiers. I think maybe it was Jewish, who knows. So they knew how
You say private, they were Germans, but
German, like the Wehrmacht. Private soldiers, plain soldiers. So we're sitting and talking, and I told them that I have a mother here and my sisters. He looked at me. He went out and brought me in 3 pairs and a nice piece of bread for mother. But I think it was Jewish. German didn't have a heart to do that. Hitler taught them so much, he don't brainwash them, that the Jews are like they're not people. They're communists, they're killing people. He killed us. This was in Auschwitz and Yom Kippur. So after October we went to Bergen Belsen. No, first Yom Kippur was the first because we came in July. So we went, and I don't know, we didn't eat, nobody.
You used to.
They brought the food.
Grass.
Yeah, the cut grass. That time we didn't have pit stones. We went to water and we cut the grass. What I did with the grass, I don't know. I stood no water a whole day. So we didn't eat. We made up that it's Yom Kippur, we're gonna fast. Maybe it's gonna help us. Maybe God will help us. So we didn't eat. So he found out that assessment that it's Yom Kippur and we have to fast. So I remember he was running like crazy and yelling, I gave us a fasting, I'm gonna give us a fasting, I'm gonna be... He found a place what was white little stones when you put in the garden, very pointy. You had to knee in that maybe for 2 hours.
On your knees.
On your knees. Okay. Should I tell you that I saw my sister, she had knees so thin that I thought I'm gonna die, that she's kneeing and she has no meat on herself. She has holes she had. I didn't, I just had little hole, but she had hole. And now after this we had to walk home, 20 miles, 10 miles, forever. This was the Auschwitz. You know, who are we going to find? One day I was sitting on the bridge, and my friend came over, Dora Botnik, and said, you know, is here a man what works what he selects from the transport clothes. So I said, so what? But I think that he brought your dress. He had a daughter and a wife in that barrack. And he brought the dress. He was in the Kleidungskammer. So he picked that dress. So I bet it's a beautiful dress, you know? So I said, okay, I'm going to see. I came over and I said, it's my dress. That material, my grandmother bought me. And I was oldest, so like for the holidays, she bought me the material to make a dress. And I made a dress. I made a dress, and I went over to Mama and said, Mom, you know what? Grandma always said, take that material, make yourself a dress, wherever you're going to be happy with that dress. That's what you told. So my mother, like I told you, she had some money. So she went over to that lady and said, listen, we are here. We don't know if we're going to live or not. But it's my daughter's dress, and I would like her to have it. I couldn't wear it. So she said, the lady, in Jewish, okay, beshet her dress, give me a sugar and give me marmalade. What you could, she knew that for King G, she had money too. And Mama took $5, and she bought this, and she gave it the sugar with the marmalade with the bread, and she gave me the dress. The dress I couldn't wear, but wherever I went, I had that dress. Later, when I could wear the dress, so the dress was old and ripped apart. But wherever I went, even the liberation, I had a piece from that dress. You know, from millions and millions of dresses, he picked my dress. It was a striped navy and a striped blue. I saw in the paper, same dress last week. Pleated, it was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous dress. Dark blue and light blue. Beautiful dress.
You still have a piece or no?
No. I lost that piece so many years. I had it a long time, no more. And this went on for 3 months. After the 3 months, the Russians were very near too. They took us to Bergen Belsen. Then we came home.
So you were in Auschwitz for 3 months?
3 months,
and then
except yes, July, August, September. 3 months. We came back. Mama was always in the barrack. The barrack is empty. Ida couldn't go at that time. She had something with her leg. No Ida, no Mama, nobody's there. So we start crying. They were separated already. So the Sturmführer, the lady what we gave her the money, she took us by hand And she took my cousins too, because I told her to take my cousins too. And she took us to mother's. When my mother saw her, oh my God, she fainted and she cried. She thought we would never see me, in fact. But she brought us over. They had to go through the phone. But the SS was standing, but she told them something, I don't know what. They let us through. Only look. So we came in, I remember that sauna, but that, you know, they took showers. And mother was there. She was so hysterical when she saw us. And we went to Bergen Belsen. And we went to Bergen Belsen. Bergen Belsen, we didn't have barracks. We had from, what do you call this? Charlatan, you know, from made up, like you go camping.
A tent.
A tent. One night we had such a storm that we all were laying in water. While I was sleeping, somebody grabbed my finger. It was a Hungarian girl that couldn't take it. Polish woman, more stronger in mind than the Hungarian woman. She grabbed my finger, she wanted to bite off my finger. She got crazy. She was laying in water. Me too. So I grabbed the finger out, and she said later, I'm sorry. People got crazy. We were laying in water, completely water, till the sun came out. And this wasn't summer, it was winter already. It was cold. Came out that such a long things like for cows drinking the water, we had to wash ourselves outside. It was called October already, or November. We was freezing. They made us suffer so, like we're not human beings. Everybody, how are we going to live through this? So plenty of people died, plenty. They couldn't take it. Later, we came to the barracks. They gave us barracks in Bergen Belsen. And we, Jared, you cannot imagine what I have on every single day. We had a few children in our camp. All of a sudden, they came in, stick the small children, never came back, shoot them out. And my uncle loved one boy, Chick. He gave him food and everything. He cried so, Donis. We cried, but he cried. He loved that little boy. Remind him of his boy. Because his wife went away with that boy. Came, took all the people, took the kids on a truck. Never saw me. Was Tisha in concert in the camp. Never saw the kids, never saw the mothers, that's it. Were dying from hunger. They gave us a little soup. But I was lucky with my sister, we walked in the sauna. They took us and to take us to the sauna. So when people came from transport, they brought some food, so we took it. And we had something to eat, but some people fell like flies. They didn't have what to eat. The barracks are filled with dead people. Ooh, I took home for Mama. I brought Mama. You know, they came from Hungary, from all kinds of those Scandinavian countries. They brought food with them. So whatever I could get, I got from Mother. And I was eating all four together. Wherever I got a piece of bread, or a can with the sardines they brought. And later on, I was working. He was looking for work, I was working. And the toilets to clean. I cleaned the toilets for one soup. So every day a different couple gave me a soup from the barracks. So I took that soup, and all four, Mama gave everybody a little more water with grass noodles was what that. And that's how we lived. Later on, this went on for every single day. Every single day somebody died. In barracks they slept out those people dead from hunger. They became Muslims, they got diarrhea, medication we didn't have. It was awful, awful. In one grave was 2,000 people in Bergen Belsen. In one grave was laying 2,000. Yeah.
Did they ever come in and was the SS always men or also women?
SS mostly men and women. We didn't have women SS in concentration, only men, but we had kapos with them. But they didn't wear no kapos. German, they were arrested too, but they were rough, very rough.
They were
you know,
Jews?
like who knows? You know, tough woman, very tough woman. They hit us, they slapped us, you didn't do good, they killed us. Very rough. Those couples were very rough. You didn't walk straight. I got once a slap, I didn't know from where it came.
From a man or a woman?
From a woman, from that couples. Those SS had couples with them, you know?
To do the dirty work?
Yes, the couples told us what to do, and they were only providers, not to run away. You know what I mean? Watched us, like they were watchdogs. And the couples worked with us. Like, do this, do that, they did it right. She gave me a cup with her food.
Did the SS kick and punch or not?
They says no. They says no because the couples watched us. We were afraid for the couples not to get hit. And for the SS, we were afraid with the dogs with us, so we were like soldiers walking straight, not to move. You couldn't turn around. Couldn't turn around. What can I tell you? That Mengele walked through in the morning.
Who?
The Sturmführer, Mengele, you heard that? They couldn't catch him.
They never found him?
Never got him. He died, but they never got him. It was in Brazil.
Brazil?
They got him and he disappeared. They were looking for so many years for him.
Was he the head?
They just found somebody in Chicago. They're sending him away. He's 80 or 90 years old.
This guy
Mengele
was the head of your camp?
He was the head of the camp. He was a bandit. He was such a bandit. He killed people for nothing. And a woman was with him, Stenya. Bandit too.
It was his
Polish,
wife?
No. Polish woman, a bandit. When they passed that camp, you could hear a fly flying. Huh? Nobody moved. Nobody. When they passed already, because we were afraid maybe he did something, he comes to shoot us. When he passed up, so we worried. No, to be young and to be in such a harrow.
What was the best day? The day the British came?
Yeah, the liberation. The liberation. But for me, violence was, I was liberated, but and we were very happy. But when the Luger fell near me, I couldn't get over it. I just couldn't get over it. To live through such a agony and in such a harrow, and he killed her. But later, the British came back and we told them what happened. He took away the gun and put them on a pail. And you know those pails from the landmen? Turned them over as a rim. He was sitting at that pail with chains, and we went through and threw stones on him. We thought it was going to help us. They killed him anyway. He was a Newberg, what do you call it? They arrested him. And the Newberg picture, yeah, Newberg.
He was at Nuremberg?
Yes, yeah.
They hanged him?
They hanged him. A bandit. Terrible bandit. No, who wasn't a bandit? Very little, nobody. They were so brainwashed from them because, you know, they were young kids. He brought them up, the Sturmführers. They spoke to the children, don't you see how they grew up? The kids, the German kids. He brainwashed them all. All. The Führer was the best for them. And that's it, what can I tell you? Every day, we went out in camp, make an appeal. You know what an appeal is? To stay straight like soldiers. Every day somebody else came, the Sturmführer, under the Sturmführer. And everybody, the hearts went out, the harrow went through straight.
You walked through to look at everybody?
Yes, through straight. I didn't like, he shoot.
You would just walk by and shoot somebody?
Yeah. They came to, you know what they said? They said that guy, what I told you, about the hang up that the machine gun, he took morphine, a narcotic. He went to to shoot Jews, to make himself happy. He shot a lot of Jews, but later on, I don't know, later on, we got rid of him. But he was the biggest murderer. He took a narcotic at night. He called up, he's coming, everybody should be out. Everybody ran out. We sat like soldiers. No, we didn't like, went through, like carnivorous. And this made him happy from that narcotic. He went to one, to us he did a few people, to the other one he killed 42 people. This I will never forget. It was a horror night. Because it was two camps. To the other one, 42 people he went with that machine gun. For kicks, to shoot Jews. We were no human beings. I don't know what we were. tell you the truth. Once they gave us food in Bergen Belsen, now I remember. And they didn't separate for which barrack, but you have to catch it yourself. No, hungry people, they were running and catching wherever they could. They went 1 time, twice, 3 times. And we had enough. I was standing 2 of those, and somebody went to open because I knew that that girl had so many times that food. And I looked in the window to the next barrack, so hungry, from hungry people. They never was a fighters. They died like flies. So I sat down on the 2 barrels and I said to the people, you're not getting nothing. Look at those people, they're gonna die from hunger. I'm taking these 2 barrels and you got to help me, Mama helped me, to bring them to the barrack and left it there. They should have something to eat. My mother was so proud of me. I said, Mom, we ate enough, look at them. I looked that window, how they looked, those kids. I still remember that picture. I will never forget it. So I said, no, those pigs already had. Let them have too, because it belongs to them too, but they never went out, they never fight. See, you had to fight that, for your life. They didn't care anymore. They didn't care. And this was really from Hungary. They lived a beautiful life, and they had, rich, hungry Jewish people that were very rich and lived a different life than in Poland.
From Budapest? In
Budapest. They never fight. I looked at faces, how they look out. Everybody's grabbing and they don't have nothing. I said, this is it. I didn't let them. I was sitting on the thing and said, I'm gonna put this in to them. They didn't fight with me. They didn't. Because it was from we were next door neighbors. And I gave them the food. I don't know what happened there, but I gave it to them. That's all. In Bergen Belsen, I walked in the street, I finished my work, and he was my boss, so fair. And he never had a pocketbook. Couldn't carry the pocketbook. He couldn't carry a little bag, nothing. Everything you had in a pocket. You sold big pockets from a smelter. You put in a scissor, a toothbrush, whatever I had needed. I had carried that big pocket. So he catched me walking. And I was his worker. And I worked for him. He said, what are you carrying here? So little by little I took out and I showed it to him with a smile. My mother was standing there, that he can't catch me, he's gonna kill me. Really, when he catch somebody, he killed. So, when I took it out, he threw me on the floor. He was wearing such big boots and gave me 1 set. And he went away. When I saw him from far out, I got up. When my mother saw me got up, don't ask. Everybody, my friends too, they ran over to me because they too knew that I'm dead. That is going to show. So, I don't know what happened and how it happened. How you're going to tell me how I was liberated, I don't know. It was a horror. It was such a horror that one killed the other. even concentration people, for a piece of bread. They were hungry, especially the Russian. The Russian people that were Morris too. They didn't care. They threw and tied it down. She had a piece of bread, and they took the piece of bread away from her. They saw she's carrying a piece of bread. They threw her down on the outside, and they took the piece of bread away. They were tough.
The Russians?
Yeah, the Russians, women, they were tough. Yes. We were working in Bergen Belsen at night. One week you worked at day, 1 week you worked at night. So it was one assessment. So in 2 private soldiers, but they watched the calls, and then, for the sound of the water should be hot. So this assessment.
So you were shoveling the coal to make the water hot?
Yes, of course, I was shoveling the coals. That's why I got such a bum buster. And me and another girl shoveled the coals to them. So one night, that SS sat down with us and told us a story. That he has business. He didn't want to come here. They make him come here, and they make him be an SS. He didn't do nothing to us, always, but it's very good. One night, Saturday night, he took 2 girls. I went, and somebody else, I don't remember who. And he went into the SS kitchen. And he brought us delicious food. You wouldn't believe it. That spoon, when you put in that food, that was standing like this. We had water, and we ate. And I took a pot, and I told him that I want to take this for my mother. So he let me, but my life was danger, because I couldn't take that pot, but I put it in that castle and going through the sauna, because they always worried us if we have no guns or something, but they didn't look in. And that's how I brought it from out there. They would look in, they shoot me. But for Mom, I wanted her to do. She should have something to eat.
Do you remember his name, that SS?
No. When we were liberated, we told the English that he was very nice to us, and that they shouldn't do nothing to us. He was. He was. He always brought us food from the SS kitchen. He was a businessman from Frankfurt am Main. He couldn't stand it too. When he saw when somebody he shoots or somebody, he turned around. He couldn't take it too. So you find from millions of one with a good heart. Everything hit it, ruined. Everything ruined. Broke hearts, kids. That's how it was, my grandson. But I hope it's going to be never again. Never, never again. You see, you read in the Bible and everything, but now you can see it's not just reading, it was true always. It was true with the Jews always. It was a shame, just a shame. Now it comes to show you, wherever you read, with power, with what you call it, the Romans. It was true. Because we see that this how true it is, and somebody doesn't believe too. Plenty Polish people they killed too. Plenty. Our Jones. Jones, I mean, the what do you call a priest? Our priest they killed, they hanged him.
The priest from Starkovic?
Yeah, and a nice guy. He was teaching religion too in school. He always came over to us. We had a Jewish religion. He always came over to us and said, "You believe in God?" We said, "Yes." Very nice guy. And they hanged him.
Why?
Yes.
Why did they hang him? Do you know?
Because a Jew is a priest. A lot of it. They sent a lot of priests to Auschwitz too. Because he was afraid that he was politics. They took care of everybody. Took care of everybody. In such a way that took care that nobody expected. You know, nobody expected the way he took over. Everything. Auschwitz, built Auschwitz. We knew that he's building an Auschwitz. Everybody, everything was secret. And with those secrets, he took in everybody. We couldn't believe. We heard that Sosnovitz, Katowice is taken already. He wouldn't come to us. And they long he came to us too. Nobody believed that happens to you. Such a horror. Who knew? Plenty. In plenty concentration camps and plenty, 6 million people he killed. Would you believe this? Soldiers then fell in a wall, so many. In a short time. In a short time. They start by 1942. In 3 years. Lately, in Auschwitz, they didn't burn anymore, like a month ago. I know why, because they didn't have people to bring in anymore. They brought in from all over, from Austria, from all over. They brought in people, transports, and who remained working, who remained burning.
So what do you mean, at the end of the war, they weren't burning anymore?
No. And then because the Russian came, they were afraid already, the Russian were coming near. So, you know, they didn't have to do it. Because they took out people the last minute in Auschwitz. They didn't have no trains, so they want them to take them to Belsen or wherever, to Germany, yes? They have us walking. It was a walking thing.
Did you walk or some people walked?
We left before. We went by train. This was in September, and December they were walking. Cold, nasty, sick, small feet, shooting people like you cannot walk. Why? No, live through. That's it. But all Auschwitz went out because they're afraid for the Russian. So they took him. They wanted to finish the Jews, not to leave them. bastards. When they would leave him, the more Jews would live. So they had to shoot them to take them. And he gave that kind of thing. The last minute, he didn't know what happened to him anymore last minute. But they did on themselves too, on themselves. Not, you know, not that he was. Let's see, they knew the Russians are coming and people are sick. Where are you taking them? Leave them here. They're gonna die here. No, he still has to torture them. They tortured them, that's it. Sick people. Torture went on every single day. Every single day was a torture. Because when the English came in, he said, that's why they couldn't take from him the gun. They didn't have a time, because the whole concentration camp was mined with mines. Before they left, they put mines all around.
When you were in the camp, did you hear that the British were coming? The British were coming. Did you know, or one day they showed up?
No. That was on a Sunday, and we heard only the heavy.
Bombs, the cannons.
In the cannons, heavy, every minute, as you know. But we didn't know who what. But we saw, while we were all in the barracks, laying down and looking out through the window, what had happened. So we saw that every SS is walking out. The campers are, but they were happy to walk out because they knew that in 15 minutes the mine's got to break. So one SS said to us, wait, we're coming back. Okay. The minute they left, the English came in. The English came in, they said hello, and they went away. They went away because they knew that the whole Bergen Belsen is mined with mines, and they couldn't take away even from them Stonefield because they're afraid they wouldn't make it. So they took out, when they would come another 5 minutes, everybody would be blown up. So, because the water was poisoned, people got sick of diarrhea, they poisoned the water.
On the way out, they poisoned the water?
No, a week before. They poisoned the water. Mama didn't let us drink the water. And who drank the water, people didn't know. They died from diarrhea, from all kind of sickness. And they didn't give us food too. The last, I don't know how we lived through. I really don't know. The English came in. We didn't know. We really didn't know. The English came in, so they made an ambulance, and sick people went in, and I was, because one lady knew me because I saw from our town, so she took young girls that they should help out in the ambulance for the sick people, take the temperature, give them the food, and that's what I did. You know, when you go by your will, like this. People go into hospitals to help.
Volunteer.
Huh?
Volunteer?
Volunteer. You volunteered to help out. Who was that? Who's that? How many people, my God, I gave them at night the medication. I came in the morning, they were dead. It was heartbreaking. You know, as a young girl to see that such a horror goes on. And when I find out that my father couldn't live and couldn't be liberated, I was crying the whole day. I loved my father. I loved him. I respect him very much. He loved me too. So I was crying, I didn't want to go down. After the liberation, and then they called my mother, said to me, what could we do? He didn't have years to live. I said, why? What he did to somebody not to live? He was 34 years old. (1945), yes, he was 40 years old. 40. He was 40 years old. Why couldn't he live? I was very, very upset about my father. It took me a long time. My mother talked to me every day. I didn't listen to her. I knew that I lost my father, so that's it. To the German bandit. But you know what? I think when they walked out, thinking now, that they threw away the guns. You understand?
They walked out with no guns.
Yes, they didn't want to have no guns. If they would have guns, they would shoot us. Because we looked out through the window and they said they're going to come back. But I remember they didn't carry guns. No. They were afraid in case they're going to catch him, they shouldn't have a gun on themselves. And that they would shoot us.
When the British were coming, did the Germans do anything to the camp to make it look better or no?
No, nothing. The last minute we didn't know. To the last minute. How to look better that they poisoned our water. Who drank the water? There was a couple thousand people. Later 2,000 people were in one grave from that water. And from the hunger. In Bergen Belsen, shooting people. I tell you the story. When we were liberated in Bergen Belsen, the English came in. While we were standing in a group, we were happy already dancing, that we are liberated. So the Sturmführer took the gun. They forgot to take the gun from him and shoot in the group and killed that girl. Jack, I was so hysterical that I went in on that choir and the preach, and I started crying so that my mother had to slap me. I said, why? She lived through. Why he killed her? Why he killed her? After the war, Mama was on the train already to go to Poland. To sell the house or to see maybe some people came back. It's going to be another city like it was. So she went with my Vetemaya. You don't remember Vetemaya. And he lived through too. And they were on this train. Going up to the train, a guy met him and asked him, spies right away after the war, because they covered up some jewelry, some money, they wanted to take out.
Where did they hide?
And in the basement, Mama covered. Mama had from candy up a box, but not a paper box. What do you call from metal. And over there she had rings, and I remember that she did that. And so, Mama, what I was telling you?
That they went to uncover the jewelry.
Yes, So he said, he realizes right away, because he knew Mama and knew Uncle. Where you going, to Poland? Don't go. They just killed a few Jews in Poland. But he was under the table. There was a long tablecloth, so to move down the tablecloth so they didn't see him. And that's how he became alive. But there came back a woman with 2 children and another woman with 2 children. And she knew the guy and she called him by name. Polak, and said to him, "You're gonna shoot me, I know you when you grew up." He shot the kids, her, and the other woman with her. He ran out in the morning, very early. He was under the table. They didn't see him. And came back to Bergen Belsen, not to Bergen Belsen, Frankfurt.
This is
Yes. After all, he said, "Don't go for Poland."
So after the war, you had been liberated, and they were still shooting people?
Yes, what do you mean? A guy went for me to the school. He was my age. He came home to the city to see how somebody is a young guy, maybe the mother, father, because we didn't believe maybe we're gonna find somebody. We looked for each other. They cut his head off, the Polacks. When somebody saw it, when they saw them, you know, the Polacks said, "You still alive?" You should have. He cut his head off, a young guy, maybe 17 years old. So Mother wanted to go. So Uncle said, "You want to go? You want the Polacks to go and kill you? You go. I'm going down from the train." So she was afraid. She went down from the train too.
So you were safer, after the war, you were safer in Germany than before?
Sure. Oh, Poland, you can go back. No, they killed. In our time, they killed people. So many people. Imagine to live through with 2 kids. Oh my God. Could you imagine? 2 women with 2 kids. 1 kid was injured. They didn't know. So she's now in Israel. But her sister and mother, they shot to death. And the other one too, with 2 children. Shoot to death. To live through a war like this with kids. So the Polacks took us. Oh, for $5 for pack sugar, they shot the other Jew, Judah. German didn't know. But German, everybody was a priest. No? When you belong, they knew that you're not a Judah. But I couldn't pass near him, but he would know that I'm a Judah. Later on, that they didn't recognize, so they told us to wear those bands, the yellow bands with the Jewish stuff. The Jewish stuff.
When you were liberated and you went to live in Frankfurt, did the German people say anything? I mean, did they apologize? Nobody talked about it?
We didn't talk about it. Because when you talked about it, they said they didn't know nothing about it. They didn't know nothing about it.
Do you think it's true or you don't think it's true?
I don't know. I really don't know what's true or not. You know, I really don't know. They knew, but they were afraid for each other. You could knock me out. You know what I mean?
You get shot too.
Yes. You could know, because he looked for 3rd, 4th generation, don't forget. And he found out a lot. Because I was in concentration camp in Auschwitz. Was a 3rd generation Jew. She was married to a German. Was married to a German. And they were in Auschwitz.
The German too, or just her? The husband too, or just the wife?
No, just the wife. They took away the wife. You know, this is heartless. To take away the wife, he's alive. So he punished them. He punished people. Yeah, that's right. A lot of people, German, died in concentration camp. They were Jewish. But how he found out, nobody knows, because I bet you the neighbor told German, she's Jewish, he's not. Once, like in Russia, the communism. Who wasn't a communist, they shoot. That's how it was, a terrible thing, a terrible horror, mamma mia. Everybody was afraid for their life. I had a friend in Auschwitz. She was a teacher in college in Auschwitz, not National Lodge. She was Jewish, very intelligent girl. There were two sisters. And she wasn't sick. So she said to me, Miriam, I don't think we're gonna live through. I said, Tunya, don't talk that way. We're gonna go live. We have to fight for life. She said, no. She was dead next day. No sick, nothing, she was dead.
Just didn't
Her sister lived through.
She went to sleep in the house.
She couldn't take it. She couldn't take it. People got crazy too. And you know, like the girl got crazy when I bite my finger off. She got crazy, she didn't want my finger. She didn't know what she's doing. But I felt that somebody's biting my finger. People got crazy, they couldn't take it. I don't know. I am very true, I can't take that. But maybe I was with my sisters, with my mother was different. We were for each other, you know? We really were for each other. We have a bite of a piece of bread, we all four took pieces from it. You understand? Wasn't the selfishness, everything. I got the soup, I gave it, I didn't. I gave it to Mama, Mama gave it everybody. That's the stories of our life. And I got married. I never told the kids. But that time when I got married, it wasn't so popular. It wasn't the pictures, it wasn't, you know, people didn't talk about it. We lived through, we wanted to make a living for the kids, you know, we were very busy. But we had dreams every night. I had dreams every night. A soldier's running after me, he wants to shoot me, and my father's with me, and me running, and when I opened my eyes and I saw Mom in bed, I felt so good. Every night, lately not so, but that time every night we had dreams. What kind of dreams, Mom? Just killing. I see killing, they want to kill me, I run. Going to Auschwitz, we don't know. We knew already that, you know, that there's, what do you call, help me out, what do you call, what a bunch of people.
Crematorium.
The crematorium. This was our first part. To go from Belsen and Fliegen to Auschwitz. This was the first part. That's why a lot of people, the doctor took poison.
The doctor from Srebrenica took poison?
Yeah.
Killed himself?
Yes. And a few people really took poison. That's why they were so thirsty after that poison. Yeah, a lot of people took, but 19 people I think took poison. The doctor had poison with himself because he knew that we are going to die anyway.
Did your father take it or you don't know?
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. But he was in that group. Maybe he wouldn't be in that group, maybe if he lived through. Uncle Maya was in a different group. It's true. We don't know. We really don't know. But I heard my father. I recognized we were next to each other. So I wasn't very near each other. But my father was yelling, water, water. And I tell Mama, that's Daddy. Water, water. I recognize his voice. This was the first part. And one more part, but was for now, that we came home from work and we didn't find Mother and Sister. And I was staying, me and Faye, hysterical crying, that we wouldn't see the Mama and Sister anymore. Just like an hour, and after that hour we met. But this was a part I will never forget. When I walked into that barrack and I didn't see my mother and my sister, it was a horror for us. We were so hysterical that she took us by hand like two babies and provided us to Mama.
That was the day you got transferred to Bergen Belsen.
No, this is luck. You know why it's luck? Because by that thing going to the fauna, they call the fauna, you know, but the soldiers are taking it and taking care of you, see if you haven't got a gun, or, you know. We passed by like nothing happened. It's like somebody would push us.
Because she said something to somebody? And
yes, yes. And she said, you know what she did? I will never get it open the door. And she threw us in and she roamed away. Just like unbelievable when I'm thinking that. No, but at that time you didn't think.
And she was a capo or she was a German?
She was a capo in the barrack. But she was very good to my mother. Later on, she was in Salzheim. We didn't do a thing to her because she was very good, you know.
Later you saw her in Germany?
In Germany. And this is near Frankfurt, I mean. Yes. She was a Polish woman, but she worked very nicely. She was a Hungarian woman there. She was a roughie, you wouldn't believe, a Czechia. No, not Hungarian, the Czech.
She was Czech?
Czech, from Czechoslovakia. When she came to the pill in the morning, so she killed everybody. Everybody she gave a job. So one
what did she do? She punched him?
She punched him and smacked him, stay still, she was terrible. The other one was fine, you know, like, she leave it to her. So one woman said to her, that came from one town, no, this was a Polish woman, she said to her, Saturday, she was davening. In the Czechoslovakia, they're very religious. You see how the Czechoslovakian in the Budapest. So she said to her like that, Davenish and Leinish. You know what I mean? Don't hit and don't daven. She told her. Nie daj, nie lie. Don't give and don't daven. Because, or don't give and don't daven, because you shouldn't daven because you're hitting people. She gave it once. We were so happy she gave it up. But she was a very rough. And this from the Polish woman, she was too a couple, but she different. She didn't see, she didn't hear. She made, let's see, she made something very loud, but in a way not to hit nobody. You know what I mean? Not to hurt. A big scene, but not to hit nobody. Not to hurt nobody. The other one was a murder.
How did he pick who became captain? Do you know?
They picked them. They said they're going to be. They picked their hand up, I bet you. I don't know how. They wanted. You know? When you're then getting some better food, you know? You know, who's rough is rough. And she wasn't rough. She made a big scene, but she wasn't rough. In fact, she was in my cell time, and we always said she was good. I spoke to her because I thanked her what she did to me. She brought me to my mother and to my sister. Nobody would do it. Because when they would bring me, I would die with faith. She said, like this, mother provide a little, you know what I mean, whatever she could. In Shoah, there was one watching Shoah, so I still watch too. Calls me up and said, Mommy, you went through this? You never told us? I said, Estelle, how can I tell you my life? And you should grow up with my past. I thought that you're going to be older, I'll tell you. But now you know yourself because everything is open. That time they didn't talk about it. We didn't talk too. But when we came to a conversation, we came always out on the camps and on the cassette and everything. But the kids didn't listen. They were sleeping. But I never told them. She said, you better close it. I don't want you to watch it. Please close it. Look, they did not see it. She didn't know. She didn't believe that I went through this. Later on, they started the schools and talking in this, in museums. And still people don't know. Listen, who wasn't in it couldn't believe. But it's a true story, true as true. Why there's 6 million people on the other side of the world? It's such a horror to take people, to put gas, and to burn them. Oh, the bitches. Let me tell you, I'm telling the story. I know I was there. Every camp what I told you, my eyes, I was there. But it's unbelievable what human beings can do to human beings. Unbelievable. I know that somebody died in town. The whole town was crying. So natural death. Here they killed, they didn't care. So what else can I say? What else can I say? Came a Hitler and killed 600 Jews. 6 million. 6 million. Imagine this. To kill in 2-3 years. It's unbelievable to believe it. Such a bandit. I always said Hitler is not behind them, so they cannot sometimes say no, not to kill a person, but to kill people. They went out to kill, sometimes they went out to kill people, and they were standing and laughing, and they was a what I can tell you, it's like to go to a wedding and to dance. That's how they kill people. They were standing and laughing, hysterical. Every gun they took out to a person, they were hysterical. So this is human beings. And they're not afraid for nothing. Not afraid? So they killed a few, but plenty of them around were killed the Jews. Plenty. I just hope to God that wouldn't again. Shouldn't be again. On nobody. On Jews and not Jews. To such a horror. Oh my God. When I was, now I cannot cry. I just can't cry. When I went to the German for the work, what I did to get the money every month, so I told him the story, how I lived through and what else. But when he touched me about my father, this is 30, 40 years ago, I was so hysterical that I couldn't talk to him. That he saw that I'm crying, not that I'm acting, that I cry from my heart, from my soul, from my father. So he came over to me and took me around. He said, "My kind, vergiss doch alles I should forget." I told him I cannot forget. I lost my father very young and I loved him very much. And my father didn't do a thing to nobody. Why did I kill them? He didn't give me an answer. He just, "Please don't cry. My king, don't cry." Yeah. And my grandfather, he was such a good guy. Every little poor in this town he gave. So every son said, "Why are you so good?" He said, "Just leave me alone, that's me, I want to give." Like he took care of Karen Kamehameha, and he went collect money and sent to Israel. He was a Zionist, very, very loved Israel. So he went to his sons. So they said, "Why are you coming first to us?" He said, "Because I know you're going to give me a good beginning." They always said this. "I know that you're going to give me a good beginning, that I'm going to collect money and send it away." For Karen Kayemis.
There's only a minute or two left on the tape. Can you just show the camera your
Huh?
Can you just show your numbers?
Yes, why not? This was my name. I didn't have a name. Rabbi gave me a name, but I didn't have it. But in Auschwitz, I had to remember my number. You know, now I don't remember, now I don't look at it even. Some people took out, I didn't want to take it out. I said, this is going to remain with me forever. Forever, this is going to remain for me. I don't remember now the number. Like this, I have to remember the number exactly. As it's with me. People took it out, you know, a lot of people. Didn't bother me. I said, this is going to be forever.
Nicht kein Rosenkäse, nicht kein Mandeln, der Tate ist nicht gefroren handeln. Lulineke mein Sinn, Lulineke mein Sinn. Hat verlost in Zina weg, wie die Welt hat nur an Eck. Lulineke mein Sinn, Lulineke mein Sinn. Schreien so weswojen welf Gott, der barem sich in helf. Lulineke mein Sinn, Lulineke mein Sinn. Geht steigt erwacht, Mandeln, Rosineke sassach. Lulineke mein Sinn, Lulineke mein Sinn. Nicht kein Rosenkäse, nicht kein Mandeln, der Tate ist nicht gefroren handeln. Lulinke mein Sinn. Kiemen wird auf sicher scheun, sehn dich, Kind, mein einziger Kräun. Lulinke mein Sinn, Lulinke mein Sinn.